And then down here on the underside, well, there's a bit of white left on the brush there, so we've got to be careful not to do that again. But we'll darken the underside of the chest there. And adding these, super dark patches to different areas will make the purples and the blues that I put into the shadows already, the bits that I leave revealed, that'll make those pop more than they would have done before. I'll touch on the knees, and I think I'm going to leave that back leg. I quite like that back leg at the moment. Right, so back to my original flat brush, and we'll grab a little bit of the cad yellow, a little bit of this crimson, touch of the burnt umber, a little bit more, perhaps a bit more of the red, maybe a little bit of that blue that's left. And again, I'm just going to spray the surface of the painting with water. And now I'm just squinting at my reference, and I want to add some mid shadows. And that's perhaps a bit too, I'm not really copying the reference in terms of colour anyway. Not yet, certainly not exactly. But that's perhaps a bit too yellow. I'm not sure, we'll see. Let's add a little bit more of the crimson to that mixture. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I think that's a little more what I had in mind. So what I'd started to say was I was just squinting at my reference, and I just want to add a few more mid shadows, really, just to help describe the form a little better than I have so far. Now the ear isn't really this colour. Well, the colour I'm putting down isn't really there at all, but I just think a little bit on the underside of the ears, not too much, but just a little touch is going to help. Darken a little bit there, into the right of that eye. That's probably enough of that. Now in my reference, the eyes are in almost complete shadow, but I can use that same colour using a round brush to just hint at the presence of an eye there on the right. And I'm going to leave the left-hand one untouched because at the angle it's at, I don't think you'd be able to see it anyway. So still with the round brush, but coming in with a pale blue now. Just a couple of highlights over the top of the nostrils. going back to that right hand eye, I've just added a touch of yellow, not very much, to that colour I used before. So we'll just lighten up part of the eye there. So there's just a little bit of a highlight. Mixed up a reddish, is that even a word? I'm going to go with it, a reddish purple brown. Just to come back in with a little line work towards the end. But I don't want to overdo this because, you know, I'm quite happy actually with how it's almost just a patchwork of colours that I've got here. But hopefully that patchwork of colours is saying sheep, badger-faced sheep in some way. But there are a couple of little areas I feel I just want to add a touch of drawing to. Still with my round brush, but now I've got pure titanium white on the brush. And just going to use this to add a few very bright highlights. And so this patch of watercolour marker has definitely survived, and I quite like that. I'm less sure about the bit on the back, but you know, it's survived this long, so we won't obliterate it completely, but I'll just use this fine brush to add a few highlights to just describe the shape of the back a little more. I've picked up a bit of blue on the brush there, but we'll make that work. Maybe just a dot of white in the eye. So here's a look at the finished painting. Quite a quirky depiction of this unique breed of sheep. I've used unusual colours in the fleece, but in doing this, I feel I've kind of got to know an unusual subject quite well. So although this is a very, very different style to what I'll be creating for the farm illustrations, I think this is going to help me. It's going to kind of soaked up some of the features of this animal. They've kind of gone into the old memory bank. And one of the things I'm happiest with this painting is just the little bits I've left from the original drawing, or the bits of the watercolor marker that have bled a little bit. And you know, they certainly add a unique look to the finished painting. And I think I also achieved my goal where I've used different direction brush strokes, you know, in the different sections of the background to depict different textures. And it's just very lightly suggested, but it still gives a space for the animal to occupy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you'd like to see more of my work, then you can head to my website, which is mikejewelry.co.uk, and hopefully see you next Sunday for the next episode of the Sunday Art Show. Thanks very much for watching.